welcome in. Just get comfortable here. Happy Saturday, April 4th. Thank you so much for joining me today. Here we go. My kids were messing with all my buttons yesterday, which is why I was late. So apologize for being a single minute late, but we were trying to fix all the gear here. I love letting the kids in and letting them touch things. You know, sometimes we kind of try to avoid that, right? But I kind of welcome it. I like when they play around with things. And my daughter was here sitting yesterday. I have a monitor behind me here. And I just love letting them play with things because I want them to know what I do. And I think this is one of the most important things when it comes to being a parent entrepreneur. I want to get my kids involved because I want them to understand why I lock myself in the office here, why I go out and speak at different places. I just want to get them involved because I remember when I was growing up, you know, my dad, for example, he would leave and then he'd come back, but he'd never really tell me what he did. Part of it was because he had a government job, but the other part of it was like he just would leave and go on, you know, work trips for 2 weeks and come back. And, you know, I just always assumed, okay, work equals something that takes my dad away from me. I just made that connection. And then so now being an entrepreneur, being able to work from home, I'm trying to sort of reverse that. Oh, work is something that can actually bring us together. And just that's the kind of thing that I tried to do. Okay, so I'm a little bit of a mess this morning. I went camping last night, and last night, what I mean is we pitched a tent in the living room, a 4-person tent. We opened up the window a little bit, and then we watched TV from the tent, and then we just had there's YouTube videos of just literally campfires that go on for hours, and we just put that on and put it on sleep mode so that it only went for like an hour, and then we went to bed, all sort of laying in the same tent in the living room. We're just trying to make it fun. And, you know, honestly, I never really went camping myself, and, you know, having easy access to the bathroom and having easy access to the refrigerator, like, I'm down for that. Cool. Thank you for being here today. We're going to answer as many questions as we can. We're going to do a number of different website reviews. I pop up the 3-minute timer here, and during that time, I just lay it all out, my first impressions upon visiting your website. We'll do those probably at the half-hour mark, and I am going to stay a little bit over today as well. It's a weekend, and you know these things go by really, really quickly. So before we get going, just want to say hello and welcome to everybody. We got Cheryl in the house, Suzanne, welcome in, Liz glamping, that's right, glamour camping. Bert, welcome in, Bert. Thanks for being here today. Great training for your kids. Xenia and Vlada says, my father always locked up his office until today. Martin said, good morning, Pat. Back watching to my new favorite show from glorious sunny Devon. Hi to the family. Thank you, Martin. I appreciate that so much. Ursula in the house, shaken, not stirred. Anybody drinking coffee with me this morning? Tastes very yummy. We got some sound effects coming in. No new ones yet. Every week I like to introduce like a new sound effect. I'm also, just so you know, especially for the regulars who've been here all 19 days. We're at 19 days going strong here, and thank you again to the Quaranteam. I am getting a theme song created for the income stream. I'm not going to share with you what the lyrics are or who I'm working with or how it's getting done, but it's going to be pretty cool. I'm really excited about it, and it's going to brand this a little bit. You know, this thing just kind of took off 19 days ago where I just wanted to go live to create something regular for you. It's going to be live every single day until we get through this together. And I'm super stoked because it's turning into something that I'm having a ton of fun with, and a lot of you are getting a lot of value from. And I wanted to brand it a little bit more, have it turn into something like a show. We're also going to be working to take clips from this as well and see how we might repurpose them to try and grow the show. And also, we'll see what we do with them, but I have some ideas on how we can make this even more fun and take it even further. So we're going to do that. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we will see what happens. Over 100 people live today, already 46 thumbs up. And before we start answering questions, I do want to share with you that every time we do this now, we have a like goal. Have yet to have that thumbs down. I guess they go to sleep on the weekend. Typically, we have 1 or 2 people that thumbs down. But our goal today is 220 likes. If we get to 220 likes in this about an hour and 20 minute stream, an hour and a half stream, which is a little bit longer. We've gotten close the last couple days, but we didn't make it. I'm going to share with you some stuff that's behind me on the shelf here and just tell you some quick stories about them. A lot of you have been asking about all the things that are here. We did this once already. We had a lot of fun with that. We're going to do it with a few more items, if and only if we get to 220 likes. So just keep that in mind. We got Thomas here, got my coffee. French press. I use the AeroPress. It's sort of like a French press, but I like it. It's a lot faster, a lot quicker. Angular Architecture says, I like your studio setup and background. Thank you. And to come from an architect, that's even more, I appreciate that even more. That's awesome. Let's see. Drop those coffee emojis one time for Pat. Thank you, E. I appreciate that. Sent out my first email list thing today. All 22 of them. Hey, 22 real life people. That's really great. And I think this is, maybe we'll start here. I think a lot of us don't understand that we have an advantage starting now. We have the advantage of seeing other people who've done it before us to fast forward and get through those mistakes. We have the ability to understand in a more public sense what other people have done wrong and what we can come in and do sort of a little bit differently, something that might fill in a hole. I think also when you start out small, and I often say, the riches are in the niches, right? If you start out small, whether it's in a niche or within a more general space, you have the ability to have more time to interact with fewer people. And you can provide them a better service than somebody who already is established, who's already having their time and attention sort of divided across all kinds of different things and having a business to run. When you're just starting out, especially if you have an email list like Martin just has started, then you can actually make real life connections sooner. And if I could go back into time, I would 100% make much more of an effort of reaching out to the few people who visited my website, to the few people who subscribed to my email list, to the few people who subscribe to me on social media. There's no excuse not to go out and reach out, to introduce yourself, to make a one-on-one connection, and that's your advantage. It's not scalable, which is why this is the time for you to do it, because as soon as your business continues to grow, you're not going to have that ability anymore. One thing I did when I first started my blog, this was back in 2008 when blogs were like the thing to do. Now blogs still work, but there's podcasting, YouTube, and whatnot. But it was very popular to include your website URL in a comment. You remember when you would comment on blogs and you'd put your name and then your website URL and then the comment and then your website URL was the link for your name. So it was like a hyperlink that would link to your website. So I did everything I could for every single person who commented on my blog. I would then go and click on their website, read their latest article and comment on their latest blog post. And everybody was really impressed by that. It didn't take that much longer than just normal replying to a comment, but a little bit of extra time to go to their website in particular and leave them a comment just kind of blew their minds. And I think that, now we even have more tools that are accessible to us to be able to do this sort of one-on-one interaction. So Martin, I would recommend those 22 subscribers you have, how might you know more about them? How can you get on a Skype call or a Zoom call with them, or at least connect with them on social media so that you can have sort of voice or video interactions with them? I think that can take you a very long way very quickly. So great job on that. Hey, Rob in the house. What's up, Rob? Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you, my friend. Rob, this is a thank you for reviewing my site recently. Your feedback was an enormous confidence boost. I kept waking up that night with ideas and ways to make things better. Thanks. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate you for that. And wow, $20 super chat. By the way, all the super chats that come in today and all the days that we're doing these live streams, which is every day, they get donated at the end of the month. Last month, we donated 1,000 meals to people in need here in San Diego, which is really awesome. And I think we're going to blow that out of the water this month. Not required. You do not need to pay me anything. This is a free service. No fee required, but any support, I'm definitely going to welcome it and pass it along to those who need it. So thank you so much for that, Rob. You are the man. Awesome. Let's keep going here. Okay, so fire away. Ask your questions. I'm going to be here to serve you, and we will get to website reviews at the half-hour mark in about 20 minutes. And let's just bring them in. So Chris here says, I've been making a lot of updates to my website, and Pat has given me lots of inspiration. I had lost the inspiration, and now my original vision is finally coming to life. We'll submit to review. Cool, Chris. We'll see if we can get lucky, and hopefully I can select you amongst the many people who are here who I'm going to review potentially as well. So let me move this because this is just like getting in my way. Super chat from Rafal. Rafal, my friend, thank you so much for that. Corey, I got your question on the hopper. Let's see, Rafal from just $5, five PLN, whatever PLN is. I'm not exactly even sure what that is. But thank you so much for the support. I appreciate that. Whoa, Scooby Life with the $25 super chat. Again, this is not required, y'all. But thank you so much for that donation, Scooby. All right, favorite pro wrestler and why? And then I'll get to Corey's question. My favorite pro wrestler, the 1-2, and yes, you can ask me questions about literally anything. I'll do my best to answer them as comfortable as possible. So the 1-2-3 Kid, number 2, Razor Ramon, number 3, The Undertaker. And these, so yes, I used to be, back when it was WWF, I used to watch Raw, and some friends and I got really into it for a short period of time, where they used to do this thing where they would sometimes feature groups of people who would put on their own wrestling matches in their backyards, like backyard wrestling matches. I was featured on a Monday Night Raw with a bunch of my friends one night, and my role in that was playing the 1-2-3 Kid. So I like the 1-2-3 Kid. Corey, is part of the magic of consistency over time that you just keep going while others keep coming and going? Yes, Corey, absolutely. This is about perseverance. This is about grit. This is about showing up when others don't, and it's about people realizing that you're still going to be there for them, even if they leave and then they come back. I've had a lot of people come into my brand early on and then leave to go do their own thing, and then something happens and they want to come back and just see if I'm still around. And if they see that you're still there after how many days, weeks, months, or years, they're going to understand that, wow, okay, you are serious about this, and I can come to you and you are reliable. That's the other thing, that you are reliable, because how often do we sort of follow people or build relationships and then they just kind of fall out and then they go nowhere. It's those relationships that are consistent. It's those people who continually show up that get the results. And it also speaks to those who perhaps might get a little slower of a start. As long as you keep going, you're going to grow, you're going to get better. And it might just take that one influencer, that one leader to sort of recommend your stuff, to just have things pop, and then that curve goes up, right? And these are the curves that we don't want to flatten, right? So you just got to keep going, because sometimes they start flat and we want it to go higher. So I would just say keep going no matter what. David says, hey Pat, I have a physical product and an audience on Instagram. You've mentioned video DMs on market to market on IG. Would you give more details on how that works? Yeah. So what I'd recommend is, sorry, I'm just trying to get comfy here. So what I recommend doing is, if you somehow make a connection to somebody on Instagram, maybe they're a follow of yours or they commented on a post of yours, you can reach out to people individually, meaning you click on their profile, you click on message, and then you shoot a video, because you can record a video, and just to reach out to them to let them know anything. I would do it actually without an agenda in mind, other than to just connect with your audience, to have them realize you're a real person on the other end, and to be there to help if they need it. And oftentimes you can do some really fun things with these. For example, if a person comes back to you and actually asks a question, you can ask them permission back to use that video. Let's say you get a question and you want to publish that on YouTube or elsewhere. You might ask that person back, hey, can I use your video in a, can I use your message in a video? Because it's a private message, so you want permission. But you could use that as a way for you to inject a question that highlights the community, versus you just going, hey, there's a common question that I always get, I want an answer today. You could instead go, hey, here's a question from Matt on Instagram. I like to connect with people on Instagram, so make sure you follow me there. And so here's this question. And then boom, Matt from the community pops up. Other people can see that they're not alone. They're going to want to be more involved in the community. They're going to be more able to offer you feedback and reply to you, and it just is good vibes all around. So that's what I like to call the what's up, just sort of like what's up, checking in with people, fist pumps only, right? And that's just something that people don't do, and we all have the ability and access to tools that allow us to do that. Tom says, your lighting setup inspired me to do some colorful lips lighting for my backdrop. Also been using parts of your SPI website as inspiration for revamping my own. Thanks for all you do. No problem, Tom. That's why I'm here. So really cool. I like the sort of whitewash on me in terms of these lights that are really close to me here. And then the background colors just kind of add a little bit of flavor, and it allows me to pop into the screen for you a little bit more. So I'm glad I'm inspiring people in that way. That's really great. Equipment takes a long time to ship. Better order soon. I realized when I had to get a headset for Squadcast. Yeah, I think Amazon is taking a little bit longer. We did see some lower sales since all this started happening. Right on the date that Amazon mentioned that, and I'm talking about the SwitchPod sales, physical product sales, we did see lower sales because people want their items faster. And typically now you can actually get them faster, not through Prime, if it's not an essential item. FBA sort of, or fulfilled by Amazon is actually delayed a little bit versus, we found that somebody was taking over our buy box for SwitchPod, and it's a company that we work with actually. It's called Adorama. They've been selling SwitchPods through our Amazon page because they can deliver sooner than Amazon FBA right now, because the SwitchPod is not an essential item, although I think it should be an essential item because it's that awesome. Pogi Man, or is it Pogi? If you're Filipino, it's probably Pogi. You're welcome. Smart from Scratch is free. So right now, by the way, if you would like to check out some free resources that my team and I have created for you, if you go to this webpage here, which you can actually easily access at smartpassiveincome.com/toolkit. This is a online business toolkit related to all the stuff that's happening right now, some stuff to help you from free podcast episodes, emergency episodes if you get laid off, work from home tips, and also this is what was Pogi was talking about here, Smart from Scratch, a course that we've given away over $1.2 million worth at this point to help people in need right now. I have a very unique experience that is very relevant to a lot of people right now. In the US, at least 6.6 million people filed for unemployment last week, and I think another 3.3 million the week before. So 10 million people have filed for unemployment. And I remember it wasn't quite at that scale back in 2008, but I had gotten let go in 2008 after getting laid off from my architecture job. And I started something new. I didn't start something new right away because I was depressed and not feeling really good about myself at that time and not really knowing what to do. But it was through the inspiration of others who had paved and showed a different path, i.e. online business. So I feel I have a responsibility right now with my previous experience to step up and show up for you and help you out in any way I can. So that website will help you. Hopefully this stream is helpful for you. If you haven't yet subscribed to the stream because you're new here, by the way, welcome. Hit that like button, number one. We have a like goal today of 220 likes, and I think we are well on our way there, which is fantastic, especially because we're going to go a little over today in time. It's going to be a little bit longer than an hour. And hit that bell notification icon when you subscribe to make sure you get notified when new videos come your way. All right. All right, more questions. Imran, thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate you being a super fan. Nick in the house, I'll get you in just a sec. From Pakistan, Imran, please answer today. I want to ask, how to launch my blog? Have 10 pillar post. How should I post? How should I post the post in one go? So the question being, okay, you have 10 pillar posts. You've worked really hard on these articles and you want to put them out there. I would say you can launch with, for example, maybe half of them. I think it's important to launch with more than one thing, though. I think this is smart of you to think about it this way. A lot of podcasters, for example, will launch with just one podcast episode. And I think that's a big mistake. You want to have it like be a set, like at a concert or something. On a website, very similar idea. 5 articles, for example, will fill it out really nicely, but it'll still feel a little empty. But you also want to have some pillar articles in the hopper, meaning just ready to go every single week or however often that you choose to promote and publish. And that way, as soon as people come in, they'll subscribe. Hopefully you're collecting an email list right from the start here, which is a big mistake I didn't make. It took me 2 years to understand how important it was to build an email list. So start early, build that email list, because then even if just a few people subscribe, you can connect with them, you can chat with them, they're gonna come back, they're gonna see the new articles that you come out with that are great, that you've already written. In terms of how to launch them all on one day, just literally hit publish on all of them. And then when you're ready, they're there already, just then make the big announcement. It's okay that it's not like a coordinated launch. Just have them all available and then get them and then let the world know about it. And I think that's the way to do it. And yes, you'll have to publish them one at a time, obviously, but just do that. And then they're all there, they're all ready. You can check and make sure the house looks nice. And then at the time at which you start inviting people, you can invite people to the housewarming party and have a lot of fun there. Maybe run a contest, let people know that they need to comment, and ask people what their favorite article was to see if they can scan through and pick one that works for them. Yeah, all those great things I think will help you quite a bit. Nick in the house, welcome in. Thank you so much. I am so thankful that you appreciate and love the show. I'm about to implement my rebrand, and it would mean a lot to get your insight on things that should be changed or improved. It was a hobby till I got laid off. I've made about 1K a week. I'm about to implement my rebrand, and it would mean a lot to get your insight. Okay, so how might we offer that insight? Is it going to be through this live stream? Or if you wanted to, you can actually send an email to pat@patflynn.com. I'll see if later today I can check that out. But thank you again for the super chat, Nick. We'll see if we can review that for you, and I'll give you my sort of quick thoughts on that. All right, quick critiques. Consider the YouTube app framing in landscape. Chat comments cover the left side of the frame. If your frame, your cover camera off center, then we still get your gorgeous face. Quick critiques. Consider the YouTube app framing in landscape. Okay, I don't know what that might look like. If somebody can send me a screenshot and tag me at Pat Flynn on Twitter or Instagram. I might be able to see what that looks like. I have not considered that because I only see what I see here and on the desktop as well. So thank you so much. So do they come in like down here? I would imagine they come through, and so you're saying maybe I could come over this way, in which case then maybe I can actually use this. Yeah, I don't know. You have to show me a screenshot to let me know what you think. Thank you so much for that, tangibly. That was very tangible advice. Sorry. Okay. Muse. I found it pretty normal to cycle through excited and overwhelm when you start something. Does that get better, or do you have these moments? 100%, 1,000%. Actually, let me know in the chat if you can all relate to this. You start something, you're really excited about it, and then after, I don't know, weeks or maybe a couple months, your energy levels just start to die down related to that. And I think it's so easy for us to get into that. I mean, this is very common. So yeah, I've just expected this. And what that means to me is that you eventually come to the point where the excitement becomes outweighed by how difficult this might actually be to implement, because we initially have those what ifs, right? Those what ifs of what if this works? What if this is amazing? What if this is the one? What if this is the thing that takes off, right? Those are the what ifs that we have in the beginning stages of our business. However, after that honeymoon period is over, and that's what I like to call it, the honeymoon period, after it's all exciting, then it starts to get difficult. Then it starts to get hard. And that's when you have to really step up and work harder, right? Think about a relationship, right? The beginning parts of the relationship, there's fireworks, it's exciting, and not that goes away, that still remains, but then things get hard after you get sort of more involved, right? When you get married, then it's like, okay, now we're living together, and we have to figure out how these two personalities can complement each other, even though, we love each other. It's still a work in progress, right? And I think that's how it is with these business ideas as well. We need to know that we need to push and lean into it even more. That's a sign not to step away. It's a sign to follow through. And that's the difference between entrepreneurs who succeed and entrepreneurs who fail. The ones who follow through are the ones who will see the results. The ones who kind of come back, they go back to the thing that makes them feel good, which is, ooh, new idea, exciting, squirrel syndrome, that new bright light syndrome thing that allows you to get excited again, because that feels good, right? You feel those things about something that's not even available yet, but once you start to actually put it into place, it's almost that fear, that self-doubt gets in the way. I would highly recommend checking out a book by Stephen Pressfield called The War of Art. It just goes over a lot of the mental when it comes to creativity and being a creator, for sure. And I think, as you can see, everybody sort of agrees here. David says, super chat. What's up, David? Thank you so much for the $5. I was recently approached by a company to sponsor my YouTube channel, 20K subs. Congratulations. They offered $500 a month for one mid-roll ad per week. What do you think? $500 a month for one mid-roll ad per week. So that's 4 mid-roll ads within your videos. That's going to be really a decision up to you. That's not bad in terms of pricing. That's pretty standard. But I would just see if you can understand what the value is that you're offering and how that might benefit and actually support your mission, your message, your vision. Or is this a company that's just sort of seemingly on the outside that doesn't really relate? And it's going to be, again, up to you, because a mid-roll ad in particular is definitely an interrupt, especially on YouTube. YouTube, especially where people have shorter attention spans, where they're sort of like always hovering that exit button. That's how I feel about a YouTube viewer. I always feel like when a person presses play on my YouTube videos, they have their mouse cursor or their finger hovered over that exit button, right? And it's my job to make sure they don't go there. So I worry a little bit about how an ad for a company that maybe is on the outside that you haven't even used yet, how that might affect your user or your user experience. I would also consider, well, how many views do your videos have? What's the sort of dollar value per viewer? Just to see if that's a CPM that might make sense for you. You could potentially charge even more. What I would do is see if, number one, you can either have it be a post-roll ad at that price, or you can charge more for the mid-roll ad. I think I would just go back and see if they have any wiggle room at this point. But it also depends on your sort of, it also depends on your comfort level with this, and also your need. If you're in time of need of some income right now, and this is a perfect opportunity, then yeah, absolutely. But when you consider it, if it's $500 per month for 4, I don't know how many, for 4 videos per month, I mean, if you calculate that out, that's $125. $125 per spot. Is that worth it to you? Might you be able to command more? I don't know. That's going to be really up to you. Trying to decide on usefulness of a Twitter account. Created a Facebook and Instagram account, pages associated with my site, but how could Twitter be used? The homeschool search. Thank you so much for the question. So social media platforms are interesting, right? Because you can be everywhere. But the funny thing about this is when you are everywhere, you aren't actually showing up fully in any of those places. If you do it, if you sort of spread your energy throughout. And what I often see is either one of two things. One, people start all these different accounts and then they spread themselves thin between each. And there's light conversations, there's surface level conversations, there's surface level connections within each because all that energy is divided across all of them. And then on the other hand, sometimes I see people create all these different accounts and then they end up spending time on two of them anyway. And the one that they were on, people might find them there, but then there's nothing happening. So then they just kind of either leave or head to where people are active. My recommendation, and again, this is just my opinion based on my experience, is focus on one or two max that you can go all in on. Any more can potentially just be distractions. I would only go to another platform if and only if you know 100% that you are missing out on things that you can't get on other platforms. Perhaps there are Twitter chats and certain influencers and other people that you can connect with on Twitter that are more active on Twitter that you just can't get anywhere else. And if not having access to that is not helping your business, well then yes, go on there and use that as an opportunity. But if it's not 100% sure, and you're not 100% certain that going there is going to help you, it can only distract you. It can only sort of take you away from those platforms that you should be more devoted to and going deeper into. So what if you took that energy that you were going to put into Twitter and go and use that energy into Instagram and Facebook, which you're already on already? What if that time was allocated there instead? Might you see better results with what you've already started? This is a very common thing in entrepreneurship, is to want to do something new when there are still opportunities to make the things that you have even better. Corey says, I've been a fan of Pat for several years now. I actually was studying for lead exam when I found out about him. No way. Are you serious? Bruh. That's crazy. That's insane. Isaiah, hey Pat, I'm a fan of your tutorials you make. Do you ever use a DAW to make music, or do you just do a podcast? A DAW. Trying to understand what a DAW means. So let me know. Let me know, Isaiah. Follow up, please, because I want to know what a DAW is. It's probably something really simple that I should know. Remy says, super chat. Hey, thank you so much for the super chat, Remy. I appreciate you. That's amazing. Hi, Pat. I'm helping entrepreneurs in France during the crisis and like it. I already do blog posts, free hotline, and Facebook Lives. What more can I do? So again, same question to you. Can you go further and deeper and help and serve even more entrepreneurs using what you've already started versus what else might you need to be able to do? I think this question is a very relevant question that you should be asking to the people that you already have connections with, right? I think that one other thing that's very common that we could do, if you have the ability to step up and help more people right now, why not see if you can get in front of other audiences that exist already that other people can invite you on? For example, guest podcasting or writing guest blog posts, doing this on other platforms where people have trust with another person. And it's through that relationship that you make with that host or that blog owner that can help you get more eyeballs, but also help more people because you have these experiences. You're the one stepping up to help people and other people are not. So you can get in front of those audiences and be of service to them. That's a huge value add that a person, a host, can bring to their audience if you have this experience that can help their people when they do not. So that's where I would focus in addition to sort of optimizing the things that you do already have. Thank you, Remy. I appreciate you. Ern says, I wonder what it's like for some of Pat's real OGs seeing newbies jump on with much enthusiasm and excitement. It reminds me of a music artist that blows up. So cool. Just Sampson says, I love how Pat Flynn answers my questions before I ask them. You're welcome. Oh, and the answer to the next question is 7 that you had. Francis says, I posted to my email list about 7 months ago. I just started doing YouTube Live Pilates videos. I've done only 2. I also teach yoga and fitness. Should I wait to share? Also, free versus paid Zoom. Free versus paid Zoom. You have to. I just don't know the answer to that last question because I'm not quite sure 100% what the differences are off the top of my head. It's been a while since I've checked those pricing plans, and I would just say, I think you get 40 minutes free with free Zoom, and then you'd have to pay for more. So I don't know how long your tutorials are. I don't know what else it might give you access to, perhaps local recording or cloud recording. I'm not exactly sure. But to your first question, I last posted to my email list about 7 months ago. I just started doing YouTube Live and Pilates. I would share this now. I mean, you have this email list. I think if it's been 7 months since you've reached out to them, I mean, I would ASAP reach back out to them and say, hey, I'm sorry I haven't showed up in a while, but I have some stuff for you. I'd love for you to check out my lives. Here are the replays for the other ones. I promise that I'm going to show up for you. I mean, you don't even have to mention that you haven't shown up. You can just kind of start delivering tons of great value now, and then you could actually see some growth from that because some of those people might really need this stuff right now and enjoy it, and then also share it. So I would definitely recommend doing that. For sure. Corey says, my social media issue as well. Spread too thin. How would you recommend optimizing a Facebook page or driving people to a group or to a separate page or ? So times have changed in the world of Facebook pages and groups. Definitely groups are what is hot right now. It's more active. These are communities versus a page, which is mostly like a yellow page. If you think of like Facebook pages as just like entries for a business where, yes, you can comment, but you can also leave reviews and connect with a person and message them. There's not going to be a lot of community engagement right now. And when it comes to where you might choose to send people, I would send people to where there's activity, where there's a lot of communication happening, and that's going to be a Facebook group. A Facebook page, I found, I started one way back in the day. I put a lot of effort into it, into growing it, and it grew to, I think, 185,000 likes, and it literally does nothing for me right now. The only thing that it really helps with is if I, for example, it's just a place to repurpose and place things. And then it also helps when I choose to do Facebook ads because I can retarget those people and target them in campaigns, but really that's about it. There's no activity there. Anything that is messaged is usually just a question that a person has, but there's no community there to help answer those questions for me. And I would much rather have people connect with me directly via email or other social media platforms that I'm more active on. The Facebook group is a community that now has 48,000 people on, and there's so much great content there. There's so many connections happening because people have conversations there. It's community conversations. I mean, Facebook groups are also just something of more inherent value than pages. So I would just focus on bringing people into a singular Facebook group and just being active in there, showing up, doing fun things in there, showing up live even, running contests, spotlighting your audience. And I have a video that I'll link to in the replay or some other, maybe clip if we end up clipping this, that is 27 Facebook group hacks, meaning ways to grow it, ways to be active and engage with it. If you look up 27 Facebook hacks, I think my video will pop up first and you'll be able to watch that. It's like 20 minutes of just all things that you can do in that group to make it active and fun. Digital audio workstation software. Thank you. I appreciate that. So I use... So what was the question from Isaiah? I'm sorry. Let me get back here. Do you ever use a digital audio workshop studio to make music, or do you just do a podcast? So I use for 7 years when it comes to producing a podcast, I used GarageBand for 7 years. Now I use Adobe Audition, but I used GarageBand for like the first 6 or 7 years. And I've handed off most of the production work actually since then too. But I still use Adobe Audition. I love it. But GarageBand worked just fine. So if you want to call that a DAW, then sure, but probably that you're probably laughing at me for that for right now. I have used Pro Tools in the past before. I used to make music, just create random songs. I wrote a song for April a long time ago. Very Backstreet Boys like, and I don't know where that is, and I'm okay with that because it's very embarrassing. I think she has it on her old school iPod somewhere. Oh my gosh, that's making me scared that maybe one day it might be leaked. But I did write her a song one day, so I'm familiar with things like that. But when it comes to the songs that I include in my podcast, it's literally royalty-free music coming from places like Artlist.io or AudioJungle.net. Yeah, I was a. Let me just story time really quick. I was a hopeless romantic when I was a kid. I mean, I just wanted to fall in love and get married at such a young age. It was kind of ridiculous. Like, I remember in 3rd grade, there was a girl, her name was Dana Benton, and I just had this huge crush on her. I would go home and make bead bracelets for her, and I'd write her cards, I'd write poems. But then she would go out with this guy named Darren. Anyway, and then in high school, there was this girl I really loved, and I would cry because she didn't come to my party. Like, really redonkulous, right? I didn't have my first girlfriend till junior year of college, y'all. And then funny, April and I, we met in high school, and she and I were really good friends back then. And to my editor, who's going to be clipping these things and popping them up later, let's not worry about this story. But we met in high school. We didn't date in high school. She was way out of my league. And then we got together after college. And it was just great because we already knew each other, and it just kind of was meant to be. So anyway, I could go deeper into that story, but I want to answer your questions.
Bruh.
All right. So real, man. So real.
Bruh.
Cool. Okay, so where are we at with the goal? We're at 109. So we've been a little slow on the likes, and you're exactly halfway. We got a little less than an hour left in the stream. So if you want to get to 220 likes and reach our goal today, we do have fewer people in. So I think the rate of likes per person is a little higher today, but we got to work a little bit harder because there are fewer people watching. So if you happen to be watching this live now, hit that thumbs up, and we'll hopefully get to 220 today. So real, so real. Storytime's the best, right? Do you like I was looking for some storytime music to use. Does this one work, or does it get a little bit too loud? So, because I like the beginning of this, right? It's like Mr. Rogers. So one day, I went to the forest. I have no idea. Anyway, sorry. Bogeyman says, would be great if Pat made a song. I am making a song, and actually I've wrote the lyrics to a brand new song that's coming out very soon here on the income stream. It's actually it's going to be the title song for this show that I'll play at the top of every show once it's done, right? Because at the beginning of the show, I usually just play this song. And it's kind of cool, right? But I'm getting a real song created. I'm working with the crew over at Music Radio Creative to produce a song for me. It's going to be really fun. I want it to be catchy. I want it to be something that we could start with every day, since I know now that we are going to do this live stream for a very long time, because it's going to be a while, at least here in the US, until we get out of this, because things are crazy right now. Check, check, mic check. Cool. Sounds like The Quiet Storm. Feels too slow for your style. Okay, what about, let me see. What about, do I have another one? Another song? Hold on. Yo, Pat Flynn, story time. You don't need to pay a dime to hear me rhyme. I just lost all my viewers. Now there's fewer people. Okay. Let's never do that again. I'm just trying to have some fun, y'all. Things are crazy right now. I want to produce something that gets you up in the morning, that gets you loving life, smiling. Let me make fun of myself and be ridiculous so that you can have some fun. All right. Why did you tell us the song you wrote for April, Pat? You have to play it now. Honestly, I don't know where it is, Barry, and I'm not going to work hard to try and get it. There's the thumbs down.
Bruh.
Looking for you today. It's not an income stream unless you show up and you get that thumbs down. Thank you so much for coming in today. Let's turn that thumb around. Let's see. Okay, let's get back to it, y'all. It is actually the half-hour mark now, or at least past that. So let's never again. I will always. That was fun. Let's do some site reviews. Yeah, some site reviews. So hook me up with your website URL. I'm going to see if I can find it. Now, just know that YouTube does not let you just type in your website URL. You're going to have to type it in a creative way that somehow gets through to me on the chat here, and that's the sort of criteria. And I'm going to have a little bit more formal of a way to do this a little bit later on, so just keep that in mind. But for now, we're just keeping it raw. So pop in your website URL, and we're going to go in and see how I can help you. All right? All right. What's worth getting up for is wondering what we may learn today that's new. I 100% agree with that. Cool. Pop in your websites and we're going to see if we can. Okay, Martin. I definitely want to hook up Martin with a website review here. There's a few people. I think Chris had one earlier, and we'll see. But let's go to martinhewlett.co. Hewlett.co.uk. All right, let's see if this pops up. That didn't pop up like I wanted it to. Let's try one more time. www.martinhewlett.co.uk. There we go. All right, so what we do here is we're going to do a 3-minute review. I'm going to pop in a 3-minute timer like that, and as soon as this web page loads, we will be getting into it. Martin says, oh God, it's messy. Hey, that's okay. That's why we're here. And I'm still waiting for it to load. And that just might be on my end because we're streaming. We're doing it high quality, so it might just take a while. Still waiting for it to show up. Let me hit pause and let's try one more time. If not, we'll move on to somebody else. Yeah, it's not popping in. Let me try one more time for you. Actually, let me just go to Google and make sure Google's working. Okay, Google's working. Let me just type in your name here. Martin Hewlett, maybe UK. Oh. Okay, I think I found it. There we go. And I know it's you because I see your face. Okay, let's go into it. So here's Martin's website. Hypnotherapy. Ready? Here we go. So hypnotherapy in Devon, Martin Hewlett, North Devon base. So number one, the gray text that's here is very hard to read. And it could also be a little bit bigger. We have to design for a little bit sort of people who need a little bit of help viewing things on the web. It's definitely a little small for the liking. I think that there's also, a ton of real estate here that could be used for something else. I would love to see, I like that you're introducing yourself here and what you could do for people and who you work with. That's really important too. I think that's smart that you did this. I would say you can pop this out even bigger, right? This should be bolded. I work with athletes and sports people, maybe different wording there, to motivate them to achieve your goals. So I'm a hypnotherapist who helps athletes achieve their best results through hypnotherapy or what have you. Just some language like that could be better. It could pop out. I need to know right when I get here, not about you first. I need to know about me. How does this help me first, right? We are very selfish as website viewers on the web. We only stick around if we know that this is for us. So how might you display that? Love this picture here. Looks very Steve Jobs-like. I'm okay with that. And then I would move things around so that you can utilize this space here too. I'm also wondering if there might be a way for you to collect an email address. I don't yet see a way for people to connect with you a little bit further. Let's go to services. We obviously want to help you make some money here. So why choose me for anxiety? Letting go of anxiety can, or any habit should be everybody's goal in life. Okay. So buy now. I think that again, we need to sell what it is that you're helping me with, right? So before you go, why choose me? I think that we need to speak the language of your target audience here first and help them understand. Okay, well, why? So number one, making sure that you can connect with them. So for example, just my language might be, you're probably feeling a lot of pressure, and I don't know what it's from, but I want to help you relieve it. And anxiety can be bad. It can lead to X, Y, and Z. So what you're doing here is you're amplifying the consequences of not solving the problem, because that'll help people focus in more on, okay, I need to solve this problem now. Then you can go into a little bit of what, you can do for them particular and your credentials from here. I think it's important for you to share your credentials because this to perhaps a lot of people might be a little bit new for them. Why hypnotherapy? Why does it work? Why is it better than others? I would also make sure that you have clearly outlined, and even I love how you finally have something bold for me to go, okay, well, my eye wants to go here. Why choose me for anxiety? And I think that's important. We can move that down the page a little bit after you sort of speak to me as somebody who might need help with this. But I would also have another section that says, all the objections that a person might have. Is hypnotherapy safe for me? That should be one. How long does it take to get results? That can be another one. Why is this better than traditional etc. So those are things that should be on a sales page because that's what a person is thinking. You want to do the thinking for them. So get into the brains of your target customer and actually just outline those objections here and then create, flip them on their head, right? Is hypnotherapy safe for me? Yes, in fact, it's one of the safest ways to help you relieve anxiety. It uses all natural, whatever. And I'm just making this up right now, but use the objections to your advantage. And that should be here too. Hypnotherapy videos. Cool. These almost look like book covers, actually. Cool. I'm liking what I see here. I think we definitely need more work on getting the language and the messaging right for me so that when I land on this page, I'm like, this is what I was looking for. All right. Like a hell yes. That's what we want. Cool, Martin. Hopefully that helps. But well done. Thanks for being on the chopping block. Words are everything. Yes, absolutely. Cool. Let me go back to the websites here. Let's do a few more if we can find some. All right. Let's see. I want to do Ursula and then Shelly and then let's see. Yeah, Ursula, Shelly, and then Stacy. Let's do those three, and then we'll come back and do some questions after that. So Ursula says ursulazeles.com. Let's try Ursula. All right. Man, I'm not typing things correctly today. There we go. All right, Ursula. Here we go. All right. So Ursula, I'm on your page, and it looks like to me you are an artist. It would be great to know if I land on this page, even if people already know who you are and they're coming here, this is like a business card. And imagine just getting a business card with just a name on it and nothing else. Maybe a name and an image, but if a person is going to follow up with you later, you might be best off reminding people who you are and what it is you do. So Ursula Celes, maybe under here it might say artist and a few other things about you. And I think even adding a little bit of interesting facts there, like if you go to my website at patflynn.com, you'll see it says, for example, patflynn.com, you'll see it says what the goals are, right? I turn dreamers into achievers. Let's create something great together and have fun doing it too, right? And as you can see here, it says who I am: father, husband, serial entrepreneur, and lover of dogs named Gizmo. Devourer of buffalo wings, like some random interesting fact about me, very similar to how I have at the beginning of every podcast episode, just a random thing that you can learn a little bit about me. I have nothing here to have me get connected to you other than your artwork here, which is beautiful. I love what I'm seeing here. I love the contrast between the blur watercolor and the sort of more, abstract, linear, sort of darker things in the background. Usually it's the other way around, right? Like the more sharp things are sort of bigger and in focus. Anyway, just great artwork. I love it. Let me go to About to see if I can learn a little bit more about you. I would love to see a picture of you here. I want to get to know the artist behind the scenes here. If I want to hire you, or if I want to purchase from you, I'd love to know who it is about you. You are seeming to be using this as a, this is very minimal, which again is not terrible. It's not bad to have a minimal website. You don't need everything about you in the world on a web page. But I think it's very important to understand, well, what's the experience that we want to have when people come here? And it is very obvious that you're using this sort of as a business card. But also think of business cards that stand out to you. You get hundreds of them when you go to a conference. Which ones are the ones that stand out to you? Typically the ones where you get to remember who that person is. You get to know a little bit about them. And perhaps there's even some value that can be offered there too. Let's go to next. So yeah, these are beautiful pieces of artwork. I would much rather also see a gallery. I think that would fill out the page a lot more, seeing like an array of all these things all in one spot versus just sort of one at a time, because maybe the one that shows up on the front isn't the one that doesn't speak to me. Ooh, that's a cool one. I really love this one. It almost looks like metal that's sort of shining, and the light is sort of being cascaded through different shapes and whatnot. Hey, thanks for that thumbs down. Appreciate you. Okay, back to a progression, acrylic on linen. Yeah, so I mean, not much else to say here other than we can work a little bit harder to get a person to know more about you here on this page. And the artwork does speak loads. I think I want to see more of it. And I don't know if you're asking me to purchase this or anything. I can't click on it. I would also say that, I'd worry a little bit about, for artists in particular, people potentially taking this and using it on their own website. And I don't know if that's a problem for you, but often I see artists, and especially photographers, who publish their artwork online, and then they have it seen elsewhere, and that's a very tough thing. So I don't know if there are watercolors or things like that you could potentially do to a gallery would be nice. Cool. But thank you for submitting your website for a really quick review there. So then next I said Shelly, pianoparentpodcast.com. All right, coming on the website here. All right, so this is Shelly. Thank you, Shelly, and we're gonna go right to it. Now, before I didn't even hit my countdown timer yet, and I'm already being hit with a lead magnet. So this better be really good, or else I think it could perhaps come in later. It literally came in 2 seconds after I came here. Get 3 tips for building better practice habits with your piano kid. Enter your name and email below. Not bad. It's actually not as bad as many others who have pop-ups, because if I'm coming here and I want to learn, well, then great. This is something I want to learn. I want to know these 3 tips, but it's still very, very, here, I need your email address right away before I even get to know you. I think that you could potentially do better off by either having this show up after people scroll down a certain part of the page, which you can do in ConvertKit. I see you're using ConvertKit here. You can do it based on a certain percentage down the page, or a number of seconds on the website, or an exit pop-up. I think I wanted to get into who you are and what this website's for before sort of you ask me for something. I do think that this is a beautiful pop-up though, in terms of the image of the piano. That's great. And the kid and the parent behind it. 3 tips for building better practice habits. The headline is clear. First name, email. You even have the button messaging being different. Yes, send me the tips. I think that's great. But I would much rather see that pop-up show elsewhere, because you have this beautiful page here that's neatly laid out, and I think that's fantastic. Welcome to the Piano Parent Podcast. I like a bit of a welcome. No matter where you are on your musical journey, I want to help you and your piano kid. I like that you're using that language, piano kid. I think that's really cool too. PPP offers weekly shows to support parents as they support their piano kids. Parenting isn't easy, and piano parenting has its own challenges. I'm here to help. Love it. There should be a call to action here of some kind. And can I subscribe to the show here? You have this real estate underneath this, and it looks like even something is missing, because you have a little bit of room there for a button or something. Listen to the show, or check out the latest episode, or subscribe here perhaps might be best up there. Check out the latest podcast episodes. This is really cool. Yeah, these are really great. Start here. I love that you have a start here page. Maybe that's another button that shows up there too. That could be the first call to action that you want people to see. I love the branding. I love the colors. These look great. It's very well organized. Welcome. Let's get starting. Visiting a new website, like making a new friend, can be a little overwhelming. The more time you spend together, the easier the relationship will become. Until that happens, you might need someone to help you get more acquainted and point you in the right direction. There's a ton of information on the site for piano parents. I think this paragraph could be removed. It's not necessary. I think that's kind of obvious. Let's just get right into what you can help with. You're sort of teaching me something I already know there. So just get right into it. And I think what you offer them will say the same thing for you, right? So perhaps saying something like, there's a ton of information on this website to help you and your piano kid. Let me help you get started by giving you exactly what you need from the beginning. I'm glad you're here. Hope to get to meet you soon. Shelly, right? 10th episode lists. 10th episode. Every 10th episode features a list of 10 somethings related to studying. 10th episode lists. Okay, that's really interesting. I think, so I'm brand new here, and now I'm like, okay, so I should go to the 10th episodes. I would have this be the best episodes for people just starting out. And then you can say, we happen to have every 10 episodes, these lists that are really helpful for beginners. You can start here and click on them. I'm wondering if I click on this, it shows me the list of episodes. I would hope so. So do you want me to start here? Like, is this episode, 10 Ways to Flip the Script with Kate Webb, is that the first thing you want me to listen to? Remember, the customer journey or the website journey, start here, great. You're guiding me on where to start. And then what's the first thing I should do? You want me to click on this, and then this is the first thing you want me to do. Is that the first thing you want me to do? Or might you be better off by actually displaying those episodes, like just literally listing them out here and then going from there. I think that it's very smart to have a Start Here page. I think that on the Start Here page, we need to be a little bit more diligent about where we can direct people. You're still having me make a choice. Don't have me make a choice on the Start Here page. But other than that, really, really good. And last thing I just want to see are these individual episodes and how they look. So great, really big. This could probably be smaller, so you can bring the text up a little bit. I've been following Kate on Instagram for a while. You have the player there, which is great. A nice quote, very Pinteresty, which is great too. 10 ways to flip the script. This could probably be organized in a way that is just a little bit more list or bullet point. Cool. All right, not bad. Not bad. I'm very excited about what I'm seeing there. Cool. Good job, Shelly. We got some work to do, but off to a great start, and hopefully the Start Here page helps you. I would have the Start Here button be the first thing you want people to do in that blue horizontal line, and then make sure that when people go there, they know exactly what to do next. Because website viewers could go wherever they want, and you are giving them options. And sometimes options are great, but when it's on a Start Here page, you want people to just know exactly what to do. Let's make it as easy as possible for them. Also, I saw a $20 super chat from Tangibly. Hey, thank you so much for that. I appreciate you, and that's going to be donated to the San Diego Food Bank as well. These website reviews are fantastic and super valuable. Thank you for sharing the love. Teaching professional skills is what we do, and we love to support those lifting others up as well. Keep up the great work, brah.
Bruh.
Brah.
Bruh.
Thank you so much for the $20. That's awesome. Poji says, we are learning so much for the website review of Pat. Cool. We're going to go with one more for now, and then we'll get back to some questions. And that was going to be Stacy. Fairwind a... Oh, okay. I was like Fairwind a cupuncture.com, but it's Fairwind Acupuncture. Fairwindacupuncture.com. Fairwindacupuncture.com. All right. Here we are. And who was that again? That was Stacy. All right, Stacy. I'm with you here. Here we go. So 3 minutes. Boom, I am welcomed with this welcome mat. This is essentially a welcome mat. It's like one image, and hopefully it tells me everything I need to know. But it's a beautiful experience. However, the image is a little blurred. It almost that alone just sort of makes it seem a little bit less valuable because it is a little bit blurry. It's sort of on the cusp of artsy, because it either looks like a blurry photo or the start of a really beautiful art painting, and I would have it be one way or the other, right? Fairwinds Acupuncture, Stacy, board certified acupuncturist and herbalist. I would love to see a little bit of language about, well, okay, what are you going to help me do? Whoa, let's do this. Patient information. That took me by surprise. Let's do this patient information. Oh, I didn't know this was clickable. I'm very lucky that I clicked over that. I'm wondering if the other one had a clickable thing too. Whoa, okay, wait. Okay, so no, okay, so this is clickable. So if you want something to be clickable, it has to be so obvious that you want people to click there. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to click here, but then I went to the trees one. Find me here, let's chat. So yeah, I would prefer if you want people to click on something for it to be a button and very obvious. And what I was gonna say here on this image here was just make sure that it's very clear why I should remain on this website. What is your work as an acupuncturist going to do? I think in your eyes, it's very obvious what acupuncture does. But for me being here, even though I might know that too, just to be reminded and not have to, again, think about, okay, well, what's this website gonna do here for me? What's Stacy gonna help me out with? Again, very clear language, just dumb it down for people almost. I will help you. Hey, or hi, my name's Stacy, or Fairwind Acupuncture. We help you relieve stress, pain, and bring joy back into your life. Boom, I'm in now because you're speaking my language, right? Book appointment. So this is what you want people to do in my eyes, right? So if I go to the about page, likely there's something to book an appointment down here too. Yep, okay, so that's in the footer. Yes, and so this image, a beautiful image, I think it could be smaller because we want to bring people when it's like an about page, right? Or a contact page. You want the about page to not actually be about you. It's actually about what you can do for them. So this about page to me says, look at me, my name's Stacy, and check me out. I mean, here's a huge photo so you don't miss me, right? And again, beautiful photo, it should remain, but it can be smaller, brought up top, because we want to know what we can get from being here. So about me, I would also hope that there's a little bit of stuff about you and your qualifications, which is really important, the practice, the person. There could likely be a little bit more information about sort of your credentials. How long have you been doing this? Something for the people who go, okay, Stacy, there's so many choices out there when it comes to acupuncture. I landed on this webpage. Tell me, why should I choose you? I think that's a really important thing to include on an About Me page as well. Let's try services. Again, giant picture. Do I need to see a blown up image of these herbs that, yes, can potentially help me, but I would much rather know, okay, well, in addition to that, like, what are you going to do for me? This is one I want to see. East Asian medicine can treat you in so many ways. Acupuncture is the insertion of hair-thin single sterile needles to insert points. Okay, great. You're teaching, which is great. Cupping, fantastic. I know that's very popular. Gua sha. So these are the different sort of things that you could do. Again, large moments of real estate here that are being underutilized. Might you be able to bring things up the page a little bit more? And again, hopefully I would say that you could potentially sort of in a space like this have a book me here or get services now or book appointment sort of situation. And lastly, I want to see what happens when I click book appointment. Since this is your number one primary call to action. Funny, because it was the smallest, it's smaller than all these images, right? Book appointment. Let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm actually going to literally book an appointment. This is quite tough, right? And I think that one thing that I'm missing here is, well, maybe there's a downloadable or a way to get into your email list so that we can have a little bit of a relationship first, right? Stacey, you're asking me to go on a date with you before we even get to know each other versus you giving me something of value. I like what I'm seeing on this page. It's the first time I'm getting some value on your website in terms of something I didn't know that I now can take away with me, but perhaps a way to interact with you perhaps via email so that by the time I'm in and I see that you're there and you help me out and you essentially qualify me, well, then I'm going to book an appointment, and I would have it be easy because the book appointment page was like, how many things did you want me to fill out? I'm not quite sure if this is right for me yet. And I would say that there could be a interim relationship building moment before then you ask me to go on that date with you, if that makes sense. And hopefully you understand the analogy, not like you're actually asking me, and I'm going on a date with you, for example. Michael's comment here is very, very key. Remember, a website is not just a collection of pages. You must lead the visitor where you want them to go. Rob says, anyone else overwhelmed by how much there is to learn? I wish I learned all this in college. Oh, wait, the internet didn't exist. Sort of sharing your age a little bit there, Rob, but that's okay. Yeah, I mean, there's so much to learn, right? But do you have to learn all of it before you start? No. In fact, the best way to learn is to take action and to do and to execute and to fail and to make mistakes. And what I love about what Stacey's done here, she has a website. It's up. How many people want to start something or has a business and doesn't even have a website? So Stacey, great job implementing and putting stuff up there. Now's the time we can start to, take this piece of advice and try things and move things around a little bit so that we can help people along. And so well done to you and Ursula and everybody else whose website has gotten reviewed here today. Well done. We got a super chat. Actually, I think a couple came in. Let me go up and just say thanks to number one, Shelly. Thanks so much. Again, Shelly, you didn't have to do that. All that's going to be donated to the San Diego Food Bank. Thank you for the $10. It's just truly very generous of you. And I'm glad you enjoyed that. You don't need to pay in order to get a site review. It's sort of just a random draw. But I do recognize the people that are here very often, sort of regular Quaranteam, original founding members, if you will. And there's also going to be the opportunities to do this even more. Tomorrow, we're going to do the same thing, a little bit longer of a session, just like today. On the weekdays, we're only going to go for an hour because we got stuff to do. But same time every day, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. And make sure you hit that like button. And also make sure that you hit that bell notification icon on the subscription button because that allows for, that gives you the ability to get notified when these come out. Also, make sure that you remember this, patflynn.com/theincomestream. You can go there to always get into the waiting room for the next day. And also just come when it's live and you just want to go there directly. Sometimes it can be hard to find these, especially if the notifications aren't working like they always should. patflynn.com/theincomestream will take you there. And there you go. There was also another super chat by Fabiano. Fabiano, you've done super chats before. Yeah, you don't need to do that, but thank you so much. I got it today, Pat. I want to thank you so much. Oh, hey, yes. So I sent Fabiano a microphone. He or she had been had been very challenged by the sort of slower delivery rates for Amazon and getting things sent over. You wanted to start the podcast, and I had an extra mic. Just wanted to send it to you as a get going, and now you have no excuse. Like, don't let me down. Start the podcast. You can do it, Fabiano. You got this. All right. Thank you for the site reviews. You're welcome, Spanish and Go. I'm pre-VHS, says Angular Architecture. Pre-VHS, so beta, perhaps. So my first computer was a Texas Instrument computer, one that my dad brought home from work one day, and it also came with this giant fat guide of coding, and it literally was just things that you type in on the screen, because it was just like, it looked like DOS, right? But it was a green screen with a black cursor, and then you type things in and hit execute and run this and go that and if this and that, if that. And I would just literally copy what was in this giant book. And it would take me I remember one day I did 8 hours of coding, and I think I was like 7 or 8, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was just literally copying what was in this book. And it took me 8 hours one time to have a little worm go across the screen like this. And it took 8 hours. And it was the coolest thing. So I don't even remember the name of that computer, but it was a Texas Instrument, and it was just like a cursor. There was no applications or anything. You had to code everything. And that was a lot of fun. That was my first computer. Quick question, best use of avatars. So I would say something friendly, something that is very much you. And I see that yours, for example, is you in a car. I don't know if, for example, like what this tells me is maybe you review cars or you like to drive. So that tells me something about you a little bit. I think avatars can speak loads, a picture's worth 1,000 words sometimes. You definitely want to have some sort of image, not just the sort of regular sort of blank, silhouette of an avatar like on Facebook or anywhere else. And so I think it's important to have some sort of imagery to go along with your messages so we can see the real person on the other end. I prefer to see a real person's face as opposed to, especially when there's communication involved, as opposed to a logo. Logos can work though. I think even if it's a logo, you can get to know people, just like Fabiano and I have gotten to know each other, and I recognize your logo, and I think logos are just as recognizable as faces, especially if you show up all the time. But I prefer to see the other person on the other end. But like I said, you doing something that is very you or very much on brand is key, I think. I think mine is, me holding up the Superfans book at an airport when I found it at an airport one time. Not my car. It's a friend's Tesla. Thanks, Pat. Cool. Yeah, hopefully that helps. Francis says, I'm trying to learn every day, but maybe not sure where to focus. Doing a lot, but don't feel results. At the end of the day, I can't tell you specifics, although I am going all day. Pokemon says, I miss my Napster. Yeah, I mean, Francis, you're right. I think taking every day as a learning experience, trying to understand what it is that you could do better and get better at, and also being grateful for the things that you did learn, that you did get better at. I think oftentimes we think about the things that we didn't get or don't have access to versus the things that we do have access to and the things that we actually do achieve. This is why journals like the 5-Minute Journal are really great, because it starts the day with you setting goals. It starts the day with gratitude, and at the end of the day, you can sort of reflect back on the things that you did do to see, okay, well, I actually did accomplish a few things here and there. Even though things may be tough, it forces you to think about and be grateful for things even at the end of the day, when hopefully we're approaching each day with a growth mindset. Brainstorming a logo with my face on it, so that's challenging. Yeah, it can be very challenging. I think logos are one of the toughest things to sort of figure out. We're also in the development of a logo for this show as well. I'm just really excited about how serious this show is getting, even though it's sort of, we make fun of things sometimes and we have a good time. I mean, I think taking this show seriously and turning it into something that is, more branded is the next step. And as you can see, I didn't know where this was going. I just got started 19 days ago. I hit live and I just started to pour out for everybody to see what would happen. And you guys have poured back to me, and I'm now pouring more back into you. And I think that that's a good lesson in just, ready, fire, aim, right? Ready, fire, aim. I think it's important to definitely have a plan. I think it's important to kind of have some idea of where you want to go, but it's also important to know that, well, you could come up with a plan all day. It's not going to do anything, and likely plans are just guesstimates. But I think as long as you keep a goal in mind, the goal to be as helpful as possible, for example, here on the show, then I think that no matter what you do, you can pivot and work through any sort of trails or direction to get to where you want to go. And of course, when you have the interactions like what we have right here, I mean, you guys are helping guide me, and I think that's truly amazing because we're sort of working together to create something great. And we're using this platform as a way for us to communicate and hopefully provide some entertainment, some infotainment for you every single day. Jason says, if you were to start over making connections and forging relationships with other bloggers, podcasters, and YouTubers, how would you go about doing so? So when it comes to building relationships, Jason, the number one thing that makes it so easy is to get an introduction from somebody else. So if you happen to know anybody, and again, if you're just starting from scratch, you're going to have to dig in a little bit to see who might you know, and maybe you won't know anybody, and these further tips will help you. But if you can at all start with relationships that you already have with people that exist, then that's easier than reaching out to somebody cold. That's number one. Number two, it's really important to understand what you have as in terms of a superpower. What might be, even if you didn't have connections, what would a person say to make a connection to somebody else? That's what you need to know for yourself. What is your superpower so that you can come in and not be sort of a competitor, but you can be complementary. So the story I want to tell about this really quick is I interviewed this woman. She was a dog trainer, and she was a dog trainer in her local area, but she wanted to go online and she wanted to make these connections. She wanted to start a podcast, but she was worried that she wasn't going to start something that was worth listening to because everybody else already had a show about dog training, and she was not quite sure how she would compete or how she would even get on a person's radar. So we worked in this interview to determine what her superpower was, and her superpower we determined was her just capability and ability to help people who have very violent dogs, so very vicious dogs, like they're going to bite your hand off if you pet them type of dogs. And so we hone in on that, and she's like, yeah, that's not what that's not like on my website, but that's kind of what I'm good at. So we determined that, whoa, okay, that's it. That's your superpower. So now she was able to imagine going to a person who had this already established blog or podcast about dog training and coming in and offering something of value to them. Hey, my name's Amy, and I help people train very vicious dogs. I see that you have this amazing dog training audience, but you don't have any episodes about teaching very violent dogs, and there could be a percentage of people in your audience who could benefit from knowing this information. Might I be a guest on your show so I can help deliver value to you and your audience? So do you see how this superpower now doesn't become competition, it becomes complementary? So you understanding what you have to offer, you can find people who could potentially use what you have and use your superpower to help their audience even more. And now, for example, this blogger or podcaster who might have had this amazing relationship built with you because you were on their show might go, Jim, you have a very violent dog. Great. I know the exact person that you should get involved with, because likely these people are more generalized, and you with that specialization can take that even further and sort of infiltrate and build these relationships as such. You can definitely become sort of somebody's go-to if that works out. A good example of this is Amy Porterfield. Any Amy Porterfield fans in the house here? Yeah, me too. And so Amy Porterfield, she talks about all things online business. But when she wants to talk about Facebook ads, she brings her buddy Rick Mulready on. And he comes on in segments like quite often to talk about the latest and greatest in Facebook ads, because Amy's moved on from Facebook ads, but she still wants to have somebody come on who is legit and expert in that space to provide value. And so now Rick is getting a lot of exposure from Amy's audience. They have a great relationship. People who know Amy also know Rick now. It's just a great and fantastic sort of deal where essentially everybody wins. So that's what I would focus on. I would focus on, well, what can I provide that's unique, or what skill can I learn so that I can become somebody's complimentary recommendation versus a competitor, and also just going out and trying to reach out to them in a way where I can provide value to them. The secondary story related to this is how Derek Halpern from socialtriggers.com got well known in the entrepreneurial how to build websites, how to build a business space. So Derek Halpern came into the blogosphere in about 2010, 2011. Definitely not the first one to do this. He teaches people how to build successful businesses. Definitely not the first to do that. I had been doing that for a couple of years, and I was not even the first to do that as well. I found my special niche in the passive income space. Derek's specialty was actually going into studies done in colleges and other places that were really dense studies, and taking these psychological studies. He has a psychological degree or a psych degree, and he would unpack these like 100-page long studies and filter through all that and give it back to us in layman's terms. And that was his superpower. And he actually reached out to me one day. I had no idea who he was. And he said, "Hey, Pat, I study psychology and I focus on psychological based conversions. And I noticed that on your about page, you have not done what you should be doing to collect the most emails. If you want to collect more emails, like I'll just tell you what I do for free. If not, no worries. I'm sorry I bothered you." So no ask. He was just asking to give. And of course, I'm going to accept that. So he then went, "Okay, Pat, sure, no worries. Here's what I would recommend you do on the about page." He gave me like 3 or 4 things to do. And literally the next day I saw a 250% increase in conversions on that page. I was like, "Derek, you're a magician. Like, hey, let's talk. Let me invite you on the show. Let me do this. Let me do that." So he was able to provide value to me in that way. Much like how if somebody random in the audience came up to me and said, "Hey, Pat, I know a person who might be able to help you get, your switch pod into targets. Might you enjoy a recommendation? I can hook you up with that." I don't care who you are. You're like my best friend right now because that's legit on my mind. And so if you can help an influencer, a leader, a person in the blogosphere, podcaster, YouTuber in some way like that, well, then it doesn't really matter who you are. You are going to be somebody who stands out and can build a relationship with that person. And yes, Derek Halpern is hilarious for sure. Her superpower is similar to the dog whisperer. Yeah, kind of. But again, even though there are people who do what she does already, people don't have the connection to Caesar, I think is his name, Caesar, the dog whisperer, and she can become sort of a more accessible version of that for people. And her being a woman is also a differentiator as well in that space. So there's so many things, and I think that we're all able to become a differentiator just based on who we are and our personalities. Even if we're doing something similar to somebody else, we can stand out by just being more about who we are and focusing on the things that we know we're good at. So he says, "What is your opinion of the probability of new online businesses during and after this crisis?" Guaranteed 100%, there's going to be new businesses that come out of this, online businesses included. And I think that a lot of people are in creation mode right now, and they're building those opportunities as we speak. A lot of the people here in this room who we've seen every single day are creating those moments for them right now. Very similar to how in 2008, that was a moment for me after getting over those couple weeks of depression. I determined that, wow, there are things I can control and I can potentially create something new. And it wasn't until I thought about that I actually started to see results. And it took a while, but it took me realizing and letting go of where I thought I was, a depressed architect trying to get a job versus an architect who once had a job who now has an opportunity to take those skills and turn them into something even better. So then I helped people then pass an architectural exam after that, and things started to blow up after that. Muse, when you answer one of your questions, what are you reading it from, and how are you keeping up with the chat? Meta question. So I am, so when I answer one of my questions, where are you reading it from, and how are you keeping with the chat? So I am looking at my laptop, which is right here, laptop. This is where I have Ecamm Live, and if you see the latest video of mine, you'll see how I have it sort of set up on the screen. But on the right-hand side of the screen, I have the comments here, and I can just easily scroll up and down them. And what's really nice is then I just look at the camera when I answer the question, and I just remember the question. Reading it out loud helps. It's as if you're asking it yourself, and that can go. That's how I do it. Karma Cashflow, what's up, my friend? What are your metrics like of your live streams versus your planned videos? So definitely I get more views sooner on the live streams, but then they don't have as much legs and they don't have the ability to be found in search after. It's very much of a huge spike in the beginning and then it comes down. Usually, so it's just like boom and then down slowly versus the other videos, which are typically a big spike like this and then down slowly. And then sometimes it comes back up because then search finds it, other people find it, the recommendations start to pop in. Because these live streams are about all kinds of different things, it's not really something I could write in terms of a title that is specific to a particular thing, which is why I think taking clips from this and turning them into standalone videos is going to be the next step for me, and then popping them somewhere so that they can be found in search and then more people can find them. Definitely, like some of the latest videos I've done about work from home have been performing very well. I think I have like 26,000 views on a video that was published a couple weeks ago about work from home tips, and that's because that's a hot topic right now. And that actually started out slowly and then really started to ramp up. So it had almost the opposite effect because that video got picked up really well. Hey, Pat, first of all, thank you so much for this and all of your past work. What do you think about creating content in your native language versus going global in English? I think if you have the opportunity to do that, you might start to find that you have a big advantage, because although there are less people likely consuming, you're going to start to see a lot of these markets, especially Spanish-speaking markets, and I mean, all of them are growing right now, especially right now where most people are starting to discover podcasts for the first time. Most people are starting to discover certain websites and influencers and leaders in the space right now for the first time, because we have the time to go and find these things. It's those who step up in this time who are going to be seen. And if you want to do that in your own language, I think you have a big advantage, because there's definitely less competition, and people who are likely people who will consume information in that language are going to really appreciate it, that it's not something they have to struggle with, but it's in their native language. So I think that there's definitely an opportunity there. It's going to be a slower growth, but it's going to be something that would likely have you become more of an authority sooner. I would definitely recommend checking out your country's Apple Podcasts directory, because you're going to see that there are some very specific native language speaking podcasts that are likely performing very well right now. And there's not as many of them as there are in English. There's often a question that comes secondary to this, which is, okay, well, can I do both? Can I create content in my native language and then just do the same thing in English too? Yes, you can, and that's a very smart thing to do should you have the time and bandwidth to do that. However, if you're going to be starting a podcast, for example, you don't want to have them both in the same feed. If you're doing a YouTube channel, you don't want to have both the native language and the English-speaking stuff in the same YouTube channel. And the reason is because your subscriber, for example, they're not going to get value from the one that they don't consume. You need to think about it from the listener or viewer's perspective, such that every video or every podcast is relevant to them. And if it's not, they're going to have, half as much, if not less, engagement with you. So just keep that in mind. Pat, did it take you a while to get used to speaking directly into camera instead of looking at your laptop? Yeah, absolutely. I think it helps me here because my laptop is literally in a separate space than when my camera is, because my camera is a DSLR camera that's set up right in front of me. If you want to check out my setup, you can go to patflynn.com/live setup, patflynn.com/live setup, and you'll see exactly the camera and how I use it, how I set it up on a tripod, and sort of I face the camera, and I've just gotten used to it. And it's funny because sometimes I'll take a call right after these live streams, but I'll use this camera on Zoom, and even though my computer's down here, I'm still very, I've learned to look at the lens like it's a set of eyes. Okay, it's a little creepy, but yeah.
Bruh.
So, but I think it's definitely a great thing to do. What I would recommend doing also is, if you have a laptop that uses the sort of camera, sort of this angle here, I would, it's very easy to look at yourself here because it's really close to where the camera is. So a couple things you can do. You can move this wherever you're seeing yourself up as high as possible, closer to the camera, so it looks less like you're looking down at the thing versus up at the camera. And then the second thing is, sometimes these cameras are so well designed and built into the screen that you can't even see where the camera is. So what you could do is take something like a Post-it note, like this, and maybe cut a little circle and then pop it right here so that you just know that that's where you should look at every time you're speaking to somebody. I think that's just really good all around webcam etiquette, is to know where to look. Just like when you're taking a photo of somebody and somebody has to point out, okay, the camera's on the left-hand side. It's hard to know where the camera is, but you want people looking into the camera because that's how you make a connection. The eyes are the window to the soul, and so is the webcam, if and only if you're looking at the webcam. There we go. All right, so we are closing in on the end of this call. I need to check out and check in with the family, make breakfast and all that kind of stuff. I'm wondering what we should have for breakfast. Maybe an omelet, maybe a breakfast burrito. I don't know, we'll see. But hey, we reached the end, and we did not hit our like goal today either. You know what? For the weekends, I'm not even going to mention the like goal tomorrow. I think it's something that we should just reserve for the weekdays, which are a little bit more populated. But these weekend ones go a little bit longer because I want to do more site reviews and I have a little bit more time. I don't have any other work things related going on today. I want to wish you the best and thank you for being here, and go spend some time with your loved ones who are close to you around the house. Give give somebody a call that you haven't called in a while. Scroll down to the bottom of your text messages and just reach out to somebody who you haven't chatted with in a while and speak to them too. And thank you again for being here today. I look forward to being here tomorrow, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern. We're gonna do some more site reviews. We're gonna have some more fun. We're gonna answer some more questions. And a big thank you to all the people who keep coming back. You keep this going for me. For everybody who's new, come in tomorrow, same time. I hope to see you there. Thanks for all the super chats today. You were more than generous, and we'll keep up the great work. And yeah, enjoy the weekend. Have a good one. Stay safe. Wash your hands. Stay inside. Do all the things that you need to do to help everybody else. We're going to get out of this, but as so long as we are still here, I will be here and showing up for you. So thanks everybody. Appreciate you. And as always, Team Flynn for the win.